You want Eagles football? We're talking Eagles football. You're listening to 4th and Jawn. Wait, what the is a Jawn anyway?
I don't know, it might be a little rusty. Pipes might be a little rusty, but here it goes. What's up, Philadelphia? We are live, broadcasting from the beautiful new media studios right outside of Philadelphia. Welcome to the 4th and Jawn 2017 Philadelphia Eagles free agency show, boys.
Hey.
We are back. We are back
sir.
on the airwaves. We missed you. We miss you. I missed sitting in this chair. I missed talking to you guys on Twitter. I missed all these dudes in this room, man. It is so awesome to be here. We got a jam-packed show for you today. It's not like we haven't been around for anything. It's not like we were missing any news or anything. We have all the news and reaction from today's start of the legal tampering, which is the biggest oxymoron in NFL. Legal tampering, all the reaction from all the reports on Twitter. We have Mr. John Barchard from Bleeding Green Nation and also 94 WIP calling in at 8:20, taking your phone calls, and I already see the phone calls are lining up. Already, here they come. We're taking those phone calls at 8:30. But first, I got to introduce the rest of the squad because, man, I missed you guys. I'm going to take it right over to Philly Mike, who's running. It was, running the 40, and actually won the 40.
Baby.
Actually won the 40, running our social media accounts for tonight. Philly Mike, tell them where to find us. You know the drill, man. This is season 2. You're a season
I might be a
vet.
little rusty, though. You can hit us up at 4thandjawn.com, facebook.com/4thandjawn, or at 4thandjawn on Twitter. Yo, I don't know about y'all, but I've been dealing with a lot of freaking shitty hot takes on Twitter. I've heard people wanting to trade Fletcher Cox for Brandon Cooks. Are y'all mad? Like, just some of the takes I see on Twitter are just plain right mind-boggling. Just sometimes I question our fans, but I just love them so much, and it's just great to be back in the show. It really is. I got a lot to vent.
So how you feeling after eating it on the pavement, eating it on the way to victory? For those of you who haven't seen it, all right, we decided that we were all going to run the 40 today, all right, in the parking lot right outside the new media studios here.
Run is a stretch.
We have proof.
The shit you did not, my friend. And so and so we all ran it, and in Mike's second attempt, he actually won the 40 time. I forgot. I think it was like
5-7?
5-7. Still
Something like
slow
that.
as shit. But on the way to the
Hit me
finish
up,
line,
Eagles. Hit me up.
yeah, right. On the way to the finish line, stumbled across, shaved about 0.2 of a second off of his time, and actually ended up winning this thing, which is pathetic, but at the same time was very entertaining. We also got my man Evan Bubblegum Ear in the studio.
What's up, EROCK?
What's happening, man? How you been?
Dude, I have just been dying to get back in the studio. It's so good that the Eagles season is finally here upon us. It's not here upon us yet, but I mean, just to be able to talk about free agency and finally get back in the swing of things, it's nice.
But this is what free agency does. Like, the season hasn't started. You were absolutely correct.
Right.
But it's like free agency is the blood in the water, and Eagles Twitter is the sharks.
Tell me this, though, EROCK.
Yeah.
How many other cities is it like this to where 365 days out of the year, we are just like, we're just dying for some Eagles news, for just
Crack
anything.
addicts,
Oh,
man.
my God.
We need
We're
it.
like Tyrone Biggums, just a whole bunch of us,
Y'all
man.
got any more of them Eagles news?
You got any more of them hot takes?
You got any more of them hot takes?
hot takes.
Dude, this time of year always puts everybody into an absolute frenzy. And what we're going to do is try to get through some of that frenzy today. But right now, I got to introduce my man.
No palms?
No palms, Gale.
Need some
No
skin.
palms,
Anybody
needs-
got
oh
more
my
skin?
God. There is a crater in the parking lot where Gale, on his second 40 attempt, fell from the sky.
First, let's clear the air here.
All right, let's clear the air. Yeah, okay.
I wasn't going to plan to run this 40. I was in traffic, haven't stretched in about 2 years. But you all said
Here come the excuses.
you all said a 6'9". I was like, I'm good.
Here come the Sam Bradford excuses.
I could run a 6'9" for a free meal.
Yeah.
Here's what we did. We baited him, though.
We
Hey,
did.
but also I got a torn ACL meniscus.
Here he goes.
So so I'm kind of dead inside
You
right
could
now.
have pulled an AP.
So
Like,
pulled an AP.
I came out. Hey,
So if this was the injury report, right? We would have started. If this was Andy Reid doing it, we would have started with the injury part. Mike's fine. Gale we're about to put on the PUP list because he blew out a hammy.
Hey, but
there's no skin on his palms left, and I think he broke a rib. He thinks he broke a rib.
But technically, I do have a second run, you rat bastards.
It's still going. The clock is
I got a second run until I run my second run. This is incomplete.
This is incomplete. So we're not granting Philly Mike the victory.
I got a second run. I got a second run.
And when can we expect? How long are you on the IR?
Maybe about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Looking like Jesus.
All
over
right.
here.
What about the draft?
The draft part. I was about to say the draft party.
The draft party details we'll get into later on in the show. Like I said, action-packed show, news and reaction from all the legal tampering stuff today. John Barger coming up at 8:20. Your phone calls, I see you, Daryl and Joe. Your phone calls are coming up at 8:30. Appreciate you calling in early and getting in line. And the Twitter polls and the Twitter questions. Now, Mike, if you could do me a favor, if you can go on Twitter right now, we want to get some input, all right? Because we don't want to sit here and just spew our shitty takes all over the airwaves and force you to listen to them. So here's what I want you to do. We obviously know in this room right here, the two biggest needs are cornerback and wide receiver.
Yep.
Do me a favor, list the top 4 wide receivers, all right?
Okay.
And put a poll on that.
All right.
Top 4 defensive backs, cornerbacks, put a poll on that. And then I want you to put a third poll where it says, what's the next most important position? Because we got defensive end, we've got running back, we've got offensive line, and depending on what happens with Kendricks, we might have linebacker as well. So we're going to go ahead with that. Moves the Eagles have made so far, not much. It's been all quiet on the front, which is maybe why Eagles Twitter is in a little bit of an uproar. The only news to report on the Eagles' actual
the motion that
transaction reports is that A, they got rid of Leotis McKelvin. Thank God.
Sayonara.
And B, they extended Honey Boo Boo, which means, in all likelihood,
We have a defensive tackle leaving.
we have a defensive tackle.
No
leaving.
coin for the groin, folks.
No coin. Now, Gail, I know that you were a big Benny fan. That was your dude. So how do you react to that? Do you think they should let him walk, or do you think they should tie up more of this salary cap?
We talked about this earlier in the season. I mean, it was, we don't have the money to pay. I mean, technically they could pinch some pennies and make it work, but it's when you look at how we got Benny Logan. We got Benny Logan in the 3rd round, and the production that we got from Benny Logan was awesome. And that's probably what they're going to try and reproduce. Maybe find a defensive tackle in the mid-rounds. Maybe a Jaleel Johnson from Iowa or something like that. But, it's tough to see a quality player like him walk.
And it is tough, yeah.
But now in the market that he's out there, there's some quality other DTs out there in the market that could help us if they feel like bringing them back for a reasonable, contract. We could do that.
Yeah. Well, free agent defensive tackles that are out there currently, the top of the list is Brandon Williams from Baltimore, right? 28 years old. Next would be Dontari Poe, Kansas City. Jabal Sheard, New England Patriots. It's still all around that 28-year-old range. And then you go down to Nick Fairley, which, if you follow Benjamin Albright on Twitter, last year he was fairly certain that one Nick Fairley was coming to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I don't know if they had a deal on the table, if they fucking Frank Gored the thing. I don't know. Yeah. But he never ended up coming here. He's a guy who has some
familiarity.
Thank you, sir.
With
some
Schwartz.
familiarity with Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
Right? So that would kind of make sense. Gotcha. Free agents, besides that, Eagles-wise, really nothing to report on. Brian Brayman would be the next biggest Eagles free agent to walk out the door if they so choose not to re-sign him. So the potential trades out there. Some interesting names on some potential trades. Kendrick's been well documented. I mean, you heard that, or everybody read that article when Billy Davis last year was talking about Kendricks, how he was miraculously always out of position, never had his head in the game. Physical player. You saw those flashes. He can rush the passer. He can cover people. But so many times he's out of position.
And also, they're in the nickel a lot. And when you have 2 linebackers on the field, you're going to go with Hicks and Nigel Bradham. So, I mean, he played like 26% of the snaps?
Wasn't a lot.
I mean, for the bank he's making, I mean, he's still got something in the tank. It's just
Yeah, I don't.
find a team
I don't
that
think it's
fits.
it's a question of whether or not he has anything in the tank, whether or not he's a good schematic fit. All right, because he was really good at like rushing the passer from like looping on in the inside, but in Jim Schwartz's, you're right. They're running the nickel a lot, and they're only rushing 4. He doesn't blitz much.
No.
So then a Michael Kendricks, the value of him, at least in this system,
He doesn't fit.
And
goes
then
down.
in space, don't put him on like a Theo Riddick because
Oh, God,
he
no.
will kill you
Exactly.
in the passing game.
Another name brought up in trade rumors, Chase Daniel. Interesting.
Yeah. I was surprised that he even had value.
I didn't know he had any value either, especially at that number. By the way, did you see what the fuck Mike Glennon signed for with Tampa Bay?
Did he sign already?
Did he sign
I don't
already?
think it's
Was it
official yet.
14 was it 14 mil that he's
14 to 15 million is
Who
what they were
does
saying.
that?
I
You've got your
Well,
franchise
I-
quarterback in Jameis. What are you doing?
I mean, he's had his potential. He showed some potential. He's
Yeah,
got the size, but I mean,
But
Yeah,
you've
but
got
why-
a franchise
yeah, you have a
quarterback.
franchise quarterback. Unless they're looking for the tag and trade.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tag and trade is common. New England Patriots perfected the tag and trade.
Like Tremaine Johnson, they're saying that they're gonna trade him, the Rams now.
Yeah.
and they tagged him.
But Chase Daniel, like, look, I realize it's a big salary cap hit. Not only is it a big contract salary number for this year, it's a lot of dead money if you so choose to cut him. I, unlike some other people, understand what. You all right over there, Gail?
A fucking
Dude,
rib,
you
bro.
were groaning. You were like fucking hurting, bro. Are we gonna have to call? Are we gonna have to make a phone call? A little 911 action? You're gonna make it, right?
Want to make it?
You're gonna make it.
I wasn't exactly confident.
Yeah, no. He started scaring me.
Goddamn rib sticking out my side.
It's just not poking into your lung, man.
Fourth and broken rib.
I got a Zach Ertz problem over here.
Sports hernia.
I'm not gonna make it through this podcast.
But Chase, I understand why they did it. And if you really think about it, all right, there was a point in time around this time last offseason when they didn't know exactly what was going to happen. They signed Sam Bradford to a 2-year extension. All the meanwhile thinking, man, if we can get up in the draft, that would be perfect. We can go get a guy like Carson Wentz. But we don't know if we're going to be able to make that kind of leap up to that kind of position in the pick. So we're going to sign Sam Bradford to a 2-year extension, try to trade him, because you can't trade a guy with one, the value goes down. So best case scenario, we sign Chase Daniel, we draft Carson Wentz, we trade Sam Bradford. Carson Wentz has a veteran quarterback who knows the system, basically a coach on the field, and Chase Daniel, and he knows Doug's system, who's the first-time head coach. And that all kind of makes sense. Worst case scenario is that Sam Bradford stays. You don't get to draft the quarterback that you want. You can't trust Sam Bradford to stay healthy, so at least you got Chase Daniels here. I understand why they did the contract, but now that everything worked out,
But when that first contract, it was when we first caught word of that contract, we were like, why do they give him so much money? Like I felt like they didn't have to give him that much money, but I get he's the walking, talking playbook. I
at least
understood all that.
I understand the thinking behind it.
Yeah.
And realistically, Mark Sanchez was making like 5.5 or something like that. Only $1.5 million less than
What
what Chase is making. So, and especially when you put it in the grand scheme of things against what the fuck Mike Lennon's getting paid. That is a ridiculous contract. So-
Isn't it hysterical that this time last year, Chase Daniels complaining that he didn't get a fair shot at the first spot on the roster for Carson Wentz?
Dude, he stinks.
Like, are you kidding me?
He stinks.
Oh
he's
my God.
terrible. Also on the trade block, Connor Barwin. Connor Barwin is on the trade block. We all kind of knew this was coming anyway. He's a 3-4 outside linebacker, hand in the ground, or edge rushing, defensive end. So he's not going to fit this system.
No.
And the production that he gave you last year, listen, he's a nice guy. He builds a lot of playgrounds. He's a feel-good story.
Loves SEPTA.
Loves SEPTA.
Is he gonna take the playground with him though?
No, ain't nothing like that. Come on.
Bob was like,
man.
"Hey, playground's
I'm taking my
coming with
swing
me,
set
kids.
and I'm going
Well,
to
I'm
Houston.
saying-
I'm going home."
Exactly. But of all these trade rumors, that's probably the one that could get you the most value.
Yeah.
We also got, last night or the night before, Bleeding Green Nation and other people report Jordan Matthews. A little bit of a shocker to me.
Yeah.
Kind of a head scratch.
Our one sure wide receiver that we have on the roster.
We're not sure if he's sure anymore.
Well, compared to what else we got.
He's our best
of the
best.
best.
He's the
option, I
best
should
of
have
the
said,
worst of
Best
what
of
we
the
got.
best.
Yeah.
He's our best option.
I mean, if you look, in the Howie logic in letting EROCK go, knowing that he's not going to give him another contract, now knowing that Jordan Matthews, he's probably not going to give him another contract, he's going to try and get his value now. I mean, I don't, give him a shot with a burner over top. He's the fans love Jordan Matthews. He's got some weight in the locker room. But has he really produced like we really want him?
He's not a number one, and that's what he's proven.
And we were just talking about Boye a second ago, and a tweet came out from Aaron Wilson, NFL, saying the Eagles have inquired about A.J. Boye, but not expected to emerge as a serious player for his services at this time. It's a fluid situation. So don't.
Such is free agency. It's a
Yeah.
fluid situation. But believe half of what you see and none of what you read, unless it comes from Bleeding Green Nation. And speaking of which, we want to bring in our man, John Barchard from Bleeding Green Nation and also 94 WIP. John, thank you for hopping on with us. We appreciate your time, buddy.
Hey, they're back. I'm loving this, man. Thanks for having me, fellas.
What's up, JB?
What's up, JB? How you doing, brother?
Thanks for coming on. Now it is a hot day of hot takes based off of the legal tampering period that started today for the NFL. First thing I want you to comment on, because you guys had the story up on your Twitter page. Apparently, Kenny Britt. Tell us about Kenny Britt down in Atlantic City.
I don't know what's going on there. I think people are just kind of like, they expected something to happen like right at noon, and then 12:15 came around, and all of a sudden some rando just like says, "Hey, I just saw Kenny Britt. You just paid for a burger." Here's his credit card." That kind of just got everybody's attention, and then everybody just kind of that's been an obvious thing there too. Like at 4:00 Sunday, I'm not going to be surprised if it's Kenny Britt signs Eagles, whatever it is, $9 million a year, 4 years. Something like that. I just think that's been completely linked to that since the beginning. It's why Mike Groh's here. It's why we all were like, hey, probably maybe Jeffrey will come in here too with that kind of connection. Maybe, Brandon Marshall was kind of thrown out there long before that as well. So I think that's what they want. They want some form of stability right away, and they don't want to get completely crushed in the pocketbook. And I think $9 million or somewhere around there for Kenny Britt. Maybe it's lower. I'm just guessing here, but I think that's pretty good for her guys. I know it's tough because you look at his career in Tennessee, and it wasn't that great. With the Rams, it's not that great except for last season. And but still, I mean, it's a guy that can go across the middle and catch a football, which is again all the Eagles are kind of looking for.
I mean, even with Kenny Britt, he fits the two free agent wide receiver. Like they're saying we'll grab like two free agents, so you get a Kenny Britt that leaves you some money for another guy. Now, who is the second guy?
A couple of mediocre guys.
Well, one of them.
Which starts to get a little curious, right? We're all trying to identify who's that second person.
It starts
like we're hoping.
It does start to get curious, and in fact, a couple days ago, I DJ on Saturday night, so I have the benefit of on my way to DJing down to Philadelphia, tuning in to 94 WIP and listening to the soft, soulful voice of John Barchard. And I had to call in because John is one of the now. I'm not going to break your balls, all right? Everybody in this room is not on your train, but I want to hear the argument from John Barchard about why the Eagles should trade a first-round pick for one Brandon Cooks.
Well, here's the thing. I think that we have a sort of a weird disease as fans, and this is and me included. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. We overvalue draft picks so much, especially with this football team. So this is where a lot of that logic is coming from, and I get it. Combine's right here. We've had our favorite guys since October. They're performing well. They're right on the brink. Corey Davis, even though he's not in the combine, that's still on our mind. We've seen the highlight tapes. John Ross runs a 4.22. Oh my God! There's pass rushers like Carl Lawson. Pass rushers like Solomon Thomas are absolutely lighting up, and you're like, starting to get excited. You're like, wow, the Eagles are going to land one of these guys. And then what happens? Then we get to draft night, and then we're starting to see like, wow, weird. They didn't. None of those guys happen to be there. Okay, that's weird. Well, at least we got this guy, and that's what usually happens around 14 or 15. And it's I hate to say it, if it's outside of the top 10, I don't really know, because it shouldn't be, well, this class is so deep, and that's why you have to have that talent up front. They need that corner. They need that, whatever. They shouldn't be locked into anything. If there is a playmaker, like there's a 50-50 bet on one of these guys being a playmaker in the NFL in the first round. That's the probability. I look at Brandon Cooks, and I see playmaker already. I see John Ross already.
Proven
He's
commodity.
right there. So if a proven playmaker, not just a commodity.
Right.
Commodities like Zach Ertz. Commodities like, whatever. They have productive years, and that's it, and some of it's in garbage time and some of it's not. You put Kenny Britt along with Brandon Cooks here, whew, man, is that going to look a lot different. Man, is it going to feel a lot different too. So I'm fully on board with that. There are 7 rounds in this draft. They still have, 7 picks. And there's a lot of starters that are still going to be there rounds 2 and 3 for exactly what the Eagles need. Gotta have some faith in Joe Douglas there, that he knows what he's doing with those late rounds. And on top of that, why are we suddenly just okay with how these guys, pick and choose their draft picks? They haven't been able to do that. So I'll take the surefire thing with Cooks. I honestly, after all this is going out, I'm comfortable with the first. I don't see him going for first here. I don't believe all the smoke. They need to get rid of him.
Neither do
the
I.
NFL knows that too, and I think when push comes to shove on Thursday, he's definitely going to go somewhere, and I think it might be for a second or third round or combo picks or something like that.
Now, if we gave up a first for Cooks, you'd also have to give him a new contract. Who wants to give?
Oh no, you got to pay good players. Damn it!
But I'm saying you're giving up a first, and now you're shelling out some money versus just drafting a guy, keeping that money, and doing some damage somewhere else.
And here
the first
go ahead.
But the draft pick guarantees you the playmaker. Mm-hmm. And if that guy was to work out, sure, maybe you get an extra 2 years of the money's not as bad until you have to pay him, but you still got to pay him. Plus, by the time that guy gets to his contract, you don't know what's going to go on. You have to pay Carson Wentz before you got to pay that draft pick, so you're going to be in the same situation. It just might be 2 years later, and you can't guarantee me that player is going to be just as good as Brandon Cooks.
For food for thought, just as I was driving down to the studio today and trying to wrap my head, because, whenever you have, two opposing sides, fans want this, fans don't want that, you always kind of want to wrap your head around the other side of the argument, right? That's why I called into your show. I want to put my mind in the head of John Barcher. But food for thought on Brandon Cooks, and it basically has nothing to do with his ability, because the numbers are there. You see it on the tape. You see the explosiveness. You see Drew Brees slinging that and going, 80-something yards down to the house. Man, we could use that in Philadelphia. Here's what kind of concerns me. Number one, why are they trying to get rid of him? Now, first thing I hear is that, okay, the New Orleans Saints are in a little bit of a salary cap hell, and they're looking to dump salary, although they basically have 2 more years with him at an affordable price. Does it not set up a red flag in your head that there is a former first-round pick in his 3rd year of his contract trying to talk his way out of New Orleans and playing with Drew Brees, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback, so much so that when the Eagles have to sign him, and I agree with you, man, good players deserve good money. We were making that argument for Fletcher Cox up and down the street last year, all right, before he got signed. Good players get good money. But if you're Brandon Cooks and his agent, and you were a former first-round pick, and then the Eagles trade a first-round pick for you, wouldn't you hold the Eagles by the fucking balls and basically say, if you don't pay me top money, I'm walking, dude? Like, you gave up a first-round pick.
Well, that's part of the risk.
Yeah, and that's a big
Part of the
That's
risk.
too risky,
that's
bro.
what I'm saying.
That's too
Like,
risky,
you have to almost, and if you can trust, how he is perceived around the league with agents, you would think that, okay, he's going to know that going in or out. I look at that, and it is valid. I think there is, that should go off, and I don't disagree with people saying like, hey man, that's weird. Why are they trying to do that? But along with just some of the cap hell thing though, and I know we've already talked about it a billion times already, but you think of all the other moves that they did with their offensive talent, with their defensive talent. Jimmy Graham's not there. Oops. Malcolm Jenkins. Oops. Darren Sproles. Oops. Yikes. And all that kind of continues on through that. I look at this. I look at them the same way that I do the Rams and the Dolphins. Why are they trying to? Why would the Dolphins try to acquire Maxwell and Kiko Alonso to swap 13 for 18? God, that was the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Rams even today. You look at the Rams today, and they let go of Janoris Jenkins last year, and they bet on Johnson, and he sucked. And now they tag him to try and move him, and you're just like, what are you doing? Just let him go. You bet on the wrong horse. Now move on. Now you've tagged him, and you have to stay with them. So there are a lot of different reasons, and for some reason, we are giving the Saints a lot of credit here. You remind me, didn't Sean Payton, because of him and his staff, get suspended for a year from the NFL?
Oh, you have a point.
And we're trying to make it like the Saints have this wonderful environment where Brandon Cooks would be accepted. I don't know what's going on down there, but I can guarantee you it's dividing the locker room, whatever it is. It's not exactly the same because there was a couple of driving forces behind it, but wasn't that also like what a lot of people were saying about Deshaun Jackson as he moves on? And there's,
excellent point,
the
John.
talent is still there. The Eagles make a mistake, so I don't know what's all in their heads. I think Sean Payton's one of the most overrated head coaches in the world. And if you're trying to tell me that a lot of that's because of the
spitting hot
quarterback
fire
and
tonight,
Drew Brees,
John.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that they looked at Drew Brees last year. I mean, he's great. He's fantastic. I'm not saying that, but he looked awful in some stretches there. And people somehow kind of tuned that out. 5 interceptions in one game, 3 here, 2 there, like whatever. The Saints were 7-9. I will gladly take any of the talent that they want to get rid of. That's where my head's at.
Damn, John, spitting the hot fire. I can feel the flames from this side, man. I can feel the flames from this side. Spitting that hot fire. I love it. Hey, listen, a name that kind of popped up today because of a report by Elliott Shore-Parks. 2 more things before we let you go. The Elliott Shore-Parks report that the Eagles would be interested in A.J. Bouye. Kind of surprising to me. Was it as surprising to you, and do you think it's a realistic option for the Eagles at defensive back?
With all due respect to Elliott, I don't think that happened. I don't think the Eagles were really in on that at all.
So you're smelling bullshit.
I think Aaron Wilson, who kind of tweeted it out, kind of gave that a little credence as well. But I'm pretty sure that the Eagles weren't even. I mean, they might have said hi, but there was no real kind of like, hey, let's go and do this thing, or let's pursue, or whatever. Their mind's elsewhere, and you see that because of all the different teams that interest them, which is oddly enough the entire AFC South trying to steal a corner away from the Texans, who've been the division leaders there. So, yeah, I mean, it would have been a nice idea, but man, I mean, you're talking about $13 million, $14 million. You're trying to get in there. I'm fine with a Ryan Logan, Kirkpatrick type of combo, or one or the other there. I think this is the time. And I can't believe that that they're approaching that, because again, this class of DBs and CBs it's not overblown. Like, there are a lot of great guys in this class from the first to the third round, and I think there's an A.J. Bouye somewhere in the first 2 rounds here. So, and plus, like, how many times has Howie and this organization been burned by?
Oh yeah,
large, high-priced corners. That's why I don't think Stephen Gilmore is even an idea in their heads right now. So, be interesting to see how they solve it, because I do think they need 2 guys in here before even the draft gets here. They need competition. Man, and we'll have to see what happens.
That's what I love about John. First he spits hot fire, and then he pours ice cold water all over the A.J. Bouye thing and just squashes it. But that's what we're here for. We're here to give people answers, and I appreciate you calling in. One more thing before we leave. Speaking of answers, I want you to fill in the blank here to the end of this statement, all right? This time next week, the newest Philadelphia Eagles will be blank.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, Kenny Brett's, too obvious at this point, so we'll stick with that. And yeah, I'm gonna stick with Drake Kirkpatrick because I think that's there. And Marcus Cooper, who I will give credit to Elliot on that one because he tweeted that out last night, and I was sitting there and I said it on the podcast on our latest one at BGN Radio, episode 227. Is Elliot probably didn't just come up there and think of like, what kind of corners are low end that I really like, that I really enjoy. I think Elliot heard something from that, so I would say that would probably be a potential of a CB landing next week as well. And I'll say Terrell Pryor shows up here. I think that's the wild card. I think we all wake up and then smell some sweet chin music, and it's going to be Terrell Pryor. But yeah, that'd be. At least I hope so. That's more hope than an actual fact.
Well, fingers crossed, John. We appreciate you calling in, buddy. You know I'll be listening to you on 94 WIP, and also keep an eye out for all the Eagles updates on BGN and listen to BGN Radio. Those guys do a phenomenal job, and him and James, who I love dearly. You guys do a phenomenal job. Appreciate you calling in, buddy.
All right, JB.
Thanks for checking in, man.
Absolutely. And if I could just shout out on Thursday at 6 p.m., when hopefully there's a bunch of chaos going on, you can go check us out on the Bleeding Green Nation Facebook page. We're going to be doing the Facebook Live.
Nice.
WIP studios and phone calls and all that jazz. So we're looking forward to it. And, of course, keep this going. Hey, don't stop after this. Would you tell Justin to give you some free time or do some push-ups? Do a little whole strip for him, whatever. Just keep the podcast going. It's great.
Did you see us run the 40? Just by Gail's rolling his eyes as I bring it up. But did you see us run the 40?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Check it out because now we need BGN to run the 40. See, we'll compare times.
Well, here's we will definitely do that. I'll also give you a sneak preview. We're going to run the 40, but we're going to do it in a completely different way. Where
naked
James
40s, huh?
Hey! Jack,
Cutting down on wind resistance.
James, Jack Fritz, and myself are going to run the 40, but we're going to do it with 40-ounce beers, and we're going to time ourselves to see how fast we can drink them.
God
damn!
Why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we think of that?
Are we invited?
John, appreciate the time again, buddy, so much. Thank you so much.
You got it, guys.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Damn.
We could have
40s?
40s.
What's up, Philadelphia? We're live.
I'd be like, I have no leg.
I'm in a box somewhere. Gail's bleeding.
His leg is chopped off.
Fuck it, I think Philly Micro went. I don't know. Fuck this. Let's go to the strip club. I don't want to even do this right now. Listen, we got the phone calls stacked up. You guys have been so incredibly patient. First and foremost, we want to get to DC Daryl. Daryl, long time no talk, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing? First, Gail, you all right, man?
Soul's broken. So
he hurt his hamstring.
Uncle Rico is broke right now.
He hurt his rib. He hurt his hand. But that's not even the worst part.
Emotionally.
His pride is in shambles right now.
First of all, if you saw the video, I rolled out of the car straight off the highway.
Yeah, when I seen the shoes, I knew you were
rolled
doing
across
from the
the
get-go.
finish line.
And I must say that, even though I did fall as well, that parking lot was not flat at all whatsoever. There was some cracks all over that
me and
parking
Evan
lot.
didn't
Yeah, see, it probably tripped on a fucking pothole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was not.
But you got to give me my props. I did call Mike was going to win it.
Hey, my man.
Did you put any money down on that?
Daryl.
Did you put any money down?
Hey, but I have a second run to run.
But I told Mike I owe him a bid when I come there for the draft.
Still have a
Oh,
second
so
run.
you're coming to the draft?
Absolutely. I already took the day off.
My man. I
love
can't
it.
wait for that.
We're going to have some of the details to the draft party coming up towards the end of the show. But man, there's a lot going on right now. There's names being thrown out there. Everybody from Kenny Britt to AJ Bouye to trading a first-round pick for Brandon Cooks. Man, how do you see this Eagles free agency period shaping up?
Well, first off, I'm not giving the first pick for Brandon Cooks.
Goddamn right.
The one thing that we have gotten away from is building a draft. Honestly, I would go maybe a Kenny Britt. I mean, he'll sign for $8 or $9 million. You can probably get somebody else. But my priority is we still have a young quarterback, and we still have to help him produce, whether it be a running back through the draft or wide receiver through the draft or even free agency. But I would like to pick more so Kenny Britt or even, a Terrell Pryor just to help, Carson out a little bit for the most part. And another name that a lot of people haven't said anything about because running back is a need as well, Latavius Murray. And we all seen him working out with Carson Wentz. Why not?
Gail's squeaking over there. Gail,
I mean, how much you want to pay Latavius? I mean, the thing is, I know a lot of Raiders fans, and they've always said that as big as he is, he's not punishing anybody. He's more finesse. But I get the skill set. But how much do you want to pay?
Yeah, I mean, he's better than what we got right now. Honestly, I mean, I just honestly think, as far as like the cornerback thing, we've been burnt so many. And John said it earlier. We got burnt so many times with the Namdis and the Maxwells. I'm afraid to get a free agent cornerback, to be honest with you. And the draft is so rich with cornerbacks.
Yes.
So I honestly would say, maybe stay away, or like you said, get a Marcus Cooper. That might work out as well. But if you ask me what I would see as a Philadelphia Eagle by next week, I would probably say, okay, Kenny Britt is there, but I'm going to shoot for Terrell Pryor as well.
Now, Daryl, as our official D.C. correspondent, okay, can you answer me this question? What the fuck is going on down there in D.C.? You've got general managers that aren't even in the conversation about, talking about free agents, or they're not even at the combine. You've got rumors that Kirk Cousins is going to go off to San Francisco.
He's in San Fran, right?
Yeah, he's currently in San
That
Fran.
might have been an old tweet.
Yeah, he's in San Fran right now. My understanding was that they're trying to trade the second pick for Kirk Cousins.
Wait, the second overall pick?
That's what I heard.
Damn.
Second round?
Overall.
Oh, my God.
Second overall pick for Kirk Cousins. That's what I heard. Not sure if it's true or not. As far as the GM, from my understanding, I heard he's pretty much a drunk, and they don't want him in the building.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'm hearing that as well, that he might be gone also. And this is apparently supposed to be the highly spoken GM that came from San Fran and also helped build Seattle.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there.
Because I don't follow intensely what the Washington Redskins are doing, but every time I check Twitter, there's always some dumpster fire tweet about what's going on down there in D.C. And I'm not talking politics. Yeah. I'm talking about the football team. It's like, what the hell's going on down there? Dude, Daryl, we appreciate What's that, bud?
Oh, just real quick.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I mean, for real, what's going on down here is, from my understanding, my dad said that they're pretty much going to go for defensive end with the first pick. If Cousins is gone, that's cool with me. I don't know what they're going to do about quarterback. Good riddance, not my team. F them.
Daryl, I think you really touched on something that I've been thinking about, is the fact that the Eagles seem to be a team that really just tries to get their players through free agency, and that we don't develop players anymore, and that's why we're always so cap strung, or we don't have any money on the cap, just because we go out and we overpay free agents that aren't worth it, and we don't develop any of our own players, and that's really the downfall of what's going on.
You're absolutely correct. As much as it pains me to say this, the team that won the NFC East last year, they've been doing it for the last 3 years, building up their offensive line, drafting Zeke, and drafting Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it pains us all to say, and as much as we want to throw up in our mouths when we say it, but actually, come to think of it, the Dallas Cowboys are doing something right down there in Dallas. Daryl, we appreciate the phone call, brother. We will see you for the draft. Don't be a stranger, my man. Hit us up on Twitter.
Take care, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks, D. Have a good one.
Next up, we've got a boy, Joe. Joe, who's been waiting to get on the line. You are on with 4th and Jawn. Joe, how you doing, bud?
It's been a while.
Yeah, a little bit.
Baseball's here.
Yeah.
Baseball's back already. It's crazy. Crazy up here in the Lehigh Valley.
No, nice. So you go into what some of the what is the Lehigh
Iron Pigs?
The Iron Pigs up there.
We got the Iron Pigs up here. We got the Phantoms up here. Phantoms are pretty much going to the playoffs soon, and then Pigs are starting out. I'm going to opening night, so that's all good.
Oh, it's good to hear that all the Philadelphia minor league teams are doing well. Meanwhile, we've been wandering this desert of.
We've all been sucking down in Philly.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to mention the winter
How do you see this
going on down there, but okay.
real quick,
Okay.
man? How do you see how this free agency for the Eagles is shaping up?
Well, pretty much straightforward. I would have liked to have the kid from New Orleans, but when I heard about the first-round pick, I said, hell no. I mean, we just got that pick back, and we just won the coin flip
Yeah.
a couple of days ago.
The all-important.
No,
conflict.
no,
And it's like,
absolutely. I would
Please,
definitely
yeah.
not give a first-round pick up for Brandon Cooks. And I know that John made some compelling arguments. Like, look, he is a proven asset, a proven commodity, a proven playmaker here in the NFL. But again, I can't help but think a couple steps ahead where that contract's coming up. And Brandon Cooks has got this Eagles team by the balls because they already traded. They're committed.
Mm-hmm.
They're committed. If you're not going to pay, even if Brandon Cooks' production slides a little bit, and it might, because you take a look at Jimmy Graham's numbers after he went to Seattle, they're still good, but they're not like Drew Brees passing him the rock good. You know what I mean? And Drew Brees' stats from 2014 have actually like gone up. So there's an offense and an offensive-minded guy in Sean Payton that can make wide receivers look good and seem tradable
on their first contract.
on their first contract.
That's the important thing.
It
Of
just
what I'm
seems
saying
so
is
weird.
when you have players that are able to contribute as starters and they're on their rookie deal. I'm looking at I was looking at Bouye's contract before the show.
Yeah.
He had $5,000 guaranteed.
Well, he was an undrafted
I
rookie. free agent, yeah.
understand that, but what
it's
I'm
cheap.
saying is when you're able to pick out the right guys,
Yeah.
and then able to develop them, you don't have to pay those guys, and you're able to spend money on the big name free agents, and that's how you build.
Plus, I don't like the argument that there's nobody in this draft that's going to be better at pick 14.
Yeah.
I
That's
completely
a-
agree. This is
I-
a very
I-
deep
That's,
draft.
that's hogwash, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, you mean to tell me out of all those draft prospects, there's nobody better
That can't come in.
that's
day one and
1,100
contribute.
yards. I mean, let's face facts.
There are so many players that could like really be game changers.
Yeah.
I mean, like if a Reuben Foster, like who's now might slide down a little after that combine incident, that's a middle linebacker that could be here for like 10 years. You know, Corey Davis, Mike Williams, they could be very good receivers.
I've got a hard on for Mike Williams.
Whoa,
I really
gayness.
do. Yeah, no, dude, that's my guy. That's my guy.
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. Because Brandon Cooks is throwing up 1,100 yards. I'd risk it. I'd risk it to see Mike Williams throw up Des Bryant numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I
God.
mean?
I mean,
What a
I
difference
just
that
like think about Carson Wentz and a receiver and having a back shoulder type relationship. When you see a quarterback and a receiver connected and they're connecting on back shoulder fades all damn day, and that's what he does.
Yeah.
It's his like secret weapon. Not secret weapon. Everybody knows he can do it, but nobody can stop it. I do like Mike Williams.
Yeah, there's going to be guys in that first round that are going to be contributors, impact players. Plus, if you trade that pick right now, I mean, I talked about it on a video for YouTube. There's a thing called positional flexibility. For what? Positional flexibility. So if you trade that pick right now for his ribs hurt. He's laughing so hard his ribs hurt. But if you trade that pick right now for a wide receiver and Brandon Cooks, you were like now committed in the first round to addressing the cornerback position. You know, you've now committed yourself.
Yeah. And then you're not picking the best overall play. You're picking for need.
Yeah,
Which is always deadly.
Which is always deadly. But hey, listen, like I said, if they want to take a second round pick,
Yeah.
you know, maybe a player.
Yeah,
That's when Brandon Cooks was sounding intriguing to me. When the second round pick and
Because if we blow a second, shit, we've blown a lot of
But
seconds.
then you also have to think about it. Brandon Cooks and now the relationship that's stirring with his former teammates. You know, you don't really want to bring a player back to the locker room. So,
They're also committed.
you know, they're committed. They're like, all right, now he's out the door. And I heard that Cooks's agent was pushing this.
Yeah.
So they're really trying to get him out of there. So if they don't want a hostile environment, they got to get rid of him. So there's leeway.
Gotcha. We're going to go to the next phone call. Ooh, our buddy Puga down in Texas, man. I feel like we should have that old, like, porno music starting up. Puga. my man, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys, it's been a long time. Huh? Feels good to hear you guys on the airwaves again.
Well,
feels great.
I appreciate it, my man. Thank you. It feels good to hear your voice again.
And thank you for tuning in all the way down in damn Texas.
Oh, always. So I'm hearing about this Brandon Cooks fiasco going on. Now, I'm going to propose this, and I know it's a long shot, and if you guys don't agree with it, that's cool. We can kill two birds with one stone on here.
Okay.
What if we trade Michael Kendricks for Brandon Cooks and possibly maybe a later round pick for him?
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
It's a no-brainer for us, though. That's
no-brainer for us. Exactly.
But if you're the Saints, you don't want that.
No.
If you're the Saints, you're just looking at that like it's a joke.
Listen, there was a report that came out that the New England Patriots were offering the 32nd overall pick in the NFL draft, the last pick in the first round, which is basically the start of the second. A high second-round pick for Brandon Cooks. Now, there's an unreported pick swap somewhere, or they get something additional that was kind of holding up that deal. But for a team like New England, that makes sense. You just won the Super Bowl. You're going to try to win another Super Bowl. You could use a wide receiver. The 32nd overall pick, shit, if the Eagles had it, granted, we'd have a parade and have a ring, but let's take that away. Shit, I would do the 32nd overall pick, but not the 14. And I think you're feeling the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just a little too pricey. And then not only that, but the drafts in Philly. And I know all of you guys are looking forward to, seeing who they're going to take. And, it's just going to be so crazy the next couple of weeks. And to be honest, these takes on Twitter have just been driving me up the wall, just like you guys said earlier.
I hear on that, bro.
And as far as like free agency goes, I just want Howie to get Carson guys that are going to take him to the next level. You know what I mean? That are going to, guys that we can count on, guys that we can rely on to, catch the ball in big time situations, and not just, make sure they're mentally there, not like Aguilar or Matthews that, they kind of tense up and freeze up in big moments, you know what I mean? And we need guys that are going to just help Carson out a lot, because I think that's the main priority as far as the offense goes. And as cornerback goes, man, we've missed a lot on free agents as far as corners go, but I wouldn't mind taking a cornerback in the first round either.
There you
I
go.
hear you on that,
We'll see how that goes.
Now, which cornerback are you thinking?
They're
Sydney.
trying to
Sidney Jones. I'm just gonna put it in your mouth for you.
Okay, because could you imagine? I mean, it goes along the lines of why they're not signing Benny Logan again. Because sometimes you have to look at an individual player's contract. Sometimes you got to look at it positionally. All right, so you got so much money dumped into Fletcher Cox. You're not going to allow yourself to re-sign Benny Logan, at least for what he's going to get on the open market, because that's just too much money dumped into one position. Here's where I'll give the A.J. Bouye stuff some credence, all right? If they sign him to the big free agent deal, and then they draft a guy like Sidney Jones to play the opposite side, all of a sudden those contracts positionally kind of average out a little bit. And now positionally, you're not paying a boatload. You're paying one guy a lot of money, one guy a little bit of money. And how would you like an A.J. Bouye and a Sidney Jones and a Malcolm Jenkins and a Rodney McLeod sitting there? All of a sudden the defensive backfield don't look so bad.
Yeah.
Nip's got a little hard on that one.
I can cut glass with these babies right now.
Puga, I posed the question to John.
What's
I'm gonna pose the question to you and let you go. This time next week, the newest Philadelphia Eagles will be blank.
That's a tough one, because I mean it's just been so quiet. Usually, the Eagles, you might have heard something right now. Twitter would be going crazy, and it's just.
Puga, I don't want to hear this unsureness in your voice. I want you to answer this question like you talk to a lady. You know what I mean? I want you to be assertive.
Say it with your chest.
With us.
I want you to say it with confidence. I want you to be like, yo, the next Philadelphia Eagle is gonna be. Go for it.
It's going to be Oh man.
Jesus
You know what?
Christ.
Confidence,
Pryor.
Puga.
Pryor.
Confidence.
Pryor.
Pryor. He said Pryor.
All right,
Okay.
All right, you're not getting that day. We appreciate the phone call, Puga, man. Be good. Hopefully, we'll see you at the draft. Hopefully, you come up, my man. We're gonna go real quick because I know. Oh shit, we lost him. I think he said he's coming up. Tweet us, bro. I want to go to Harry from Vancouver because I know he's the long distance call. And
Hattie.
my man Harry, how you doing, bud?
What's up, man? How you doing, E?
I'm doing good. Long time no talk. How you been? What do you think about this Eagles free agency?
Man, I've been following a lot on Twitter, man, and you know, there's a lot of people on Eagles Twitter, and you'll be surprised, man, how many people contradict each other. It's like 50-50, you know. Some people are willing to go that extra mile. Some people may not be. And I mean, both sides have a really good point. Like you were saying for Cooks, I would not want to give up a first. Because it seems like a lot. Like we did so much to get it back, you know, after getting for the Wentz trade and everything. But I don't know if it's appealing to someone like New Orleans. Yeah, take Kendricks or take Barwin, take a second. If you got to throw something else in there, do it. If that works, do it. But don't do it for a first.
No.
I mean, you can get a couple of even mid-tier guys, in my opinion, get the job done. Because weapons is obviously something good. Yeah, you can get Cooks. But is he going to solve all the problems? No, you still need probably 2 more guys, to be honest, right?
Yeah, I would
like
say
a Kenny
so.
Britt will help a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that, and then corners, all this Bouye talk, I'm not really one to listen to because obviously we've been hurt in the past by like the Maxwells and the Namdis and stuff. It's it's cliche. It sucks for corners in Philly, but I like with this cornerback class being this deep, maybe Howie and them have a plan where you know what. They might want to just snag one guy in the second round or something, depending on what happens in the next few weeks here. But my ultimate thing, and I've been saying this on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure I said this to you and even Gail, is if you can get 2 good receivers now that'll get the job done, and whether it be 2 mid or 1 high, 1 mid, like top-tier receiver, whatever, go first 2 corners in the first 2 rounds, man.
Vito and
It
Sheldon.
does not hurt at all.
I mean, you think about the last time we've addressed a corner in the first round.
Been a while.
Lito.
Yeah, it's Lito.
Yeah.
And then Sheldon Brown.
It's over 15 years.
The level of neglect has been insane.
And if you remember when that draft happened, everybody was like, what in the hell are they doing? They've got Troy Vincent. Mm-hmm. They've got Bobby Taylor. Mm-hmm. They drafted Michael
Re-up.
Lewis. Yeah, they had the foresight to see 2 years down the line and get these guys ready to go. At some point, the Eagles have to recommit themselves to building through the draft.
And then, they break that long streak, drafting a corner in the second round, getting Eric Rowe, and within 1 year, he's gone. So, I mean, you think about, the level of neglect, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. It's not the sexy choice, but it's time. I mean, you really need some bookend corners. I mean, that's the whole, if he's Andy Reid Jr.
Especially with this draft, as everyone's saying, it's like it's never been this deep in the last. I think they're saying 12 to 15 years. No, they haven't seen it this deep.
Yeah.
So why not take full advantage? I would take 1 corner in round 1, probably Sidney Jones if he's there, and maybe someone like I believe his name is Awuzie from Colorado or something. Just something
Awuzie.
different. It's groom these guys and don't get rid of them after 1 year because. Like look at Eric Rowe. I mean, he's loving it. He got traded after 1 year, whatever. He's got a Super Bowl ring now. He don't care, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been following draft for so long, and this, when they say it's deep, it is deep. And then not only is it deep, you have players with like size, like 6 foot. There's like cornerbacks that are 6'3". The guy King from Washington who had a phenomenal combine as well. Got super length, and then you have other guys like Corn, Elder, Casey, shorter DBs in the mid rounds, maybe a Fabian Moreau from UCLA. But like I said, there's just really guys with length, and defensive coaches that love cornerbacks with that size.
Harry, before we let you go, man, I'm posing this question. Now, I'm loving it now because it's catching people off guard. I asked it to John.
Yeah.
I asked it to Puga. Puga failed miserably, so I want to give you the opportunity. This time next week, the newest Philadelphia Eagle will be.
I don't want to say this, man, but I'm going to say Cooks.
Ooh.
Hey.
He
I
wouldn't
like
do
it, though.
He wouldn't do it, but it's going to happen. Harry, I appreciate you, man, calling in. What's up, man?
I just want to go back to what Gail touched on during that call. You made a point that, like, everybody loves the sexy pick, the wide receiver, the guy that's going to be the home run hitter, like almost like how Deshaun used to be all those years ago. Everyone wants a touchdown scorer, someone that could help Wentz out. But I got to tell you, man, after last season, watching our DBs get torched over and over.
It's painful.
Over again. It doesn't matter if the Eagles can put up points if they can't defend.
I mean, ideally, this defensive line, you give them one more second, and we have more sacks. We have more production out of them.
And Jim Schwartz's defense comes to fruition.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cornerback might not be the sexy thing, but it's necessary.
Absolutely. Next on the line, I can't wait to talk to this guy because every time I see him tweet, between him and Rob Aiden, it's like me thinking out loud. We got Brother Frank from Twitter on the line. Brother Frank, how you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's going on, Fourth and John family? How y'all doing?
Brother Frank.
How you doing, brother?
So you have been very opinionated.
Everything is good, man.
You've been very opinionated on Twitter. I echo most of the sentiments that you're putting out there. But how do you see this Eagles free agency shaping up come Thursday?
Oh, man, I don't even know where to start. I guess to be honest with you, I don't think we're gonna do the sexy pick again this year because last year we didn't do it and we got 2 quality starters out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm thinking how we might go mid-tier this time around, and then we just attack in the draft because, I mean, we have to start there. Because if we don't start there, we're going to be looking at another 7-9, 8-8 season.
Mm-hmm. And the point,
or a potential, anything just potentially could happen.
What we don't want to do as a fan base, and what we've been dealing with on Twitter almost every offseason, probably for the last 5 years, to be honest with you, is the Philadelphia Eagles are the offseason champions of the world. Mm-hmm. We go in, we make the moves, we make the trade.
Noise.
Oh, I love making noise, and then it doesn't pan out during the season.
Sells jerseys.
It sells jerseys. Sells tickets. It's not.
Yeah.
But we're not saying. Again, at some point we need to recommit ourselves to the draft.
Well, then I always go back to Joe Douglas. I mean, you gotta believe in Joe Douglas. I mean, I feel like he's the right fit. He's the right guy that they brought in. I feel like if he can right the ship, get these guys, hit in the first 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. If you hit in the first 3 rounds, something we haven't done in a while. Mm-hmm. You look at how bad this team has been in the last couple of years. Go back and look at the draft and see where they've, not hit in the top first, the second, third round. That's where we got to get strong, drafting. Yeah. So,
Brother Frank, I already know the answer to this question, but I want you to say it a little louder for the people in the back. Would you trade a first-round pick for Brandon Cooks? Preach on it. Speak on it, my friend.
Hell no, woo! I would not trade him first for Brandon Cooks. I mean, you've seen me on Twitter, man, going back and forth with people saying how this is the most logical thing for us to do. But then at the same time, it's like you're not trying to set up the team to be good because I've seen people say on Twitter a good amount of times, payday gonna come for Brandon Cooks. And then you're going to have to pay Brandon Cooks because you gave away your first round for Brandon Cooks.
And he's got you by the balls.
Exactly. There's going to be other things that you're going to want to address when his payday comes. And you're not going to be able to do it because you dedicated yourself and a first-round pick to a receiver, in my opinion, who has inflated stats because he was a receiver for Drew Brees.
Preach on it. Oh. This is why I love this guy.
Spin out fire, Frank.
Ain't that many receivers in the Saints organization that hasn't had 1,000 yards?
Well, I mean, you gotta dude is a speedster. I mean, and he's short. And to be a short receiver and put up some numbers, I give him a little credit now.
I mean,
but we're not giving up first round.
They have those sprinkled all over the league, man. You can easily get a speedster as long as he has hands. They're all through the league. But we need somebody that can do it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hear you, Brother Frank. All right, buddy. I got one question for you real quick, all right? You're saying we don't want to get rid of the first-round pick, right? I know you've been vetting at the faction and everything, but I want you to tell everybody, who do you want to get with that first-round pick? Who do you got?
Corey Davis.
There it is.
That's the guy I want.
There it is.
If we go receiver. Now, if we go corner, I'm on the fence with this one because I've seen people say good things about a couple of them, but Sidney Jones seems to be the guy that's been drawing the most attention. And from what I've seen, Sidney would be a great cornerback here, in my opinion.
Sidney's nice.
From what I've seen, the guy's complete.
Like if you want an overall corner who's got good anticipation, Sidney Jones is it. He's not as physical as a Marcus Peters, but he has that anticipate. Like he's a decent corner. Like I think Lattimore is probably the best of the bunch. He's super fluid. That's
another one I've heard about.
But I don't feel like he's gonna be there. And then like you said Corey Davis. Now with his leg injury, that's an issue where, people want to know how bad that injury is. But yeah, I love Corey Davis.
All right, my man.
My only knock on Sidney Jones is him being underweight. That's my only concern because, the receivers are getting bigger now.
Yeah, he's 6 foot, 186.
Like there's 5'10". There's not 5'10", 6 foot receivers through the league now. Everybody is getting to 6'2" and up almost.
Yeah.
So that would be my only concern. But if he can cover that up with his coverage skills, I'm satisfied with it.
Brother Frank, we appreciate you calling in, man. Do not be a stranger. Please call again soon and keep preaching the truth on Twitter, my man. I love it.
Brother Frank always keeping it real on Twitter.
I'm going to try my best, man.
All right,
appreciate it, brother.
Good, man.
Have a good one, man.
Next up, we got 2 phone calls left. Next up, we want to bring on Rob, my boy Rob from YouTube. I know he's got opinions on what's going to happen with the Eagles and free agency. Rob, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, E?
How you doing, man? So there's a lot of speculation going around. Today was the first day of legal tampering. Rumors are flying all over the place. Hot takes are being fired off. Shit's getting thrown against the wall, seeing if it's going to stick. There's guys like Kenny Britt down in Atlantic City buying a hamburger, as John Barcher previously said. Elliott Shore Parks is tweeting out that A.J. Bouye is going to be a target for the Philadelphia Eagles. All shit's flying loose with the Brandon Cooks. Do you or do you not? How do you see all this summing up for the Philadelphia Eagles?
All right, well, first off, I'm going to say this. That 40-yard dash that I saw earlier, I'd have had all y'all beat.
Bullshit. And you know what? It's so easy for people to say.
Yeah.
It's so easy for people to say, like, look at it and see the combine and be like, this is easy. When you're running it, it's different.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah,
it's not that hard. Then why'd you barrel over?
Hey, I just came off the couch.
Why
2
you going
years
yard?
More excuses. It's not that hard. You didn't even complete a second run. Oh, it's not that hard.
I still got a second run. You still got a second run, you rat bastards.
All right, so Rob, how do you see this thing shaping up, buddy? Gil just broke his rib again. How do you see Eagles free agency shaping up?
All right. First off, with the free agency, I've been saying this all along. I really want the Eagles to address in only free agency the wide receiver need. You need a deep threat. You need someone that can stretch the field. You need a true number one receiver. And look, they're out there. You got Deshaun Jackson, someone that can stretch the field. He's still got the game-changing speed. Alshon Jeffrey, a guy that is your true number one receiver. But obviously, the concern with him is he wants $14 million a year, $15 million a year. That's a lot of money, especially for a team like the Eagles that's very, very limited this year on cap space for obvious decisions that I don't agree with. But that's one thing. Kenny Britt, I like Kenny Britt. He's a North Jersey kid. He went to Rutgers, and it'd be the third local team for him. But I don't really know if I like Kenny Britt as a number one receiver, though. I like him definitely as a number two with Jordan Matthews in the slot, but I like Kenny Britt on the Eagles as definitely a receiver. And, if the rumors are true, if he's really in Atlantic City bragging about how the Eagles signed him, oh, hey, I just got signed by the Eagles, I'm all for it, definitely. The draft, I want them to address the other needs in the draft, like cornerback. I think I've heard it on the airwaves listening to this. I think I've heard a bunch of other people say it, that the Eagles keep putting Band-Aids on the cornerback need. Every year they're just striking out on the free agent corners. I mean, the list just goes on the amount of free agent corners they've had recently, even this year with Leonis McKelvin this past year. I want them to draft a corner, Running back, I would like them to draft the running back. Obviously, a lot of uncertainty there, too. So that's what, my game plan going into the offseason would definitely be.
All right, man. Complete this sentence. We've been asking it to most of the callers. This time next week, the newest Philadelphia Eagle will be blank.
Ooh.
Give me one name. He's still owing and on over that rib. What's that?
I'll guarantee the Kenny Britt one.
All right, he's going to guarantee it. All right, Rob, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it, buddy. Have a good one. Hope to see you at the draft party.
Absolutely.
Next up, we've got one of our riders. Ooh, Tyler Jackson. Tyler Jackson is on.
What's up, Tyler? What's going on, man?
Nothing much about you guys. I got something to address first off.
Oh, boy. Right off the bat. Let's do it. Bring on the fire.
Gail, did you run that 40 in your fours?
No, actually, I took them off. I had an extra pair in the car. I would never run in royalty fours, my brother. Well, hey,
that was what I had to address first off.
So, first of all,
But,
congratulations on your writing gig with Bleeding Green Nation.
Congrats,
that is awesome.
brother.
Yes,
so happy for you, man. You
man.
deserved it. Definitely deserved it.
To you guys for giving me that chance.
So now, give some hot takes. With the free agency getting rolling. Now, Kenny Britt, are you opposed to Kenny Britt coming in here?
No, I'm actually in favor of Kenny Britt coming here. Whenever I figured out he was going to be a free agent, it was around week 12 or so. I started watching a little bit of his tape, and I was turned off because I think it was the New England game was actually the first one that I saw, New England or the New York Jets game.
Mm-hmm.
And there were quite a few drops. But just going back and watching his tape, I did it in some anticipation for when the Eagles played the Seahawks. I watched the Rams tape, and he was winning one-on-ones against Richard Sherman. I was like, this is a very physical receiver, a good guy. Works well with his hands. He gets separation as well. Very physical at the catch point. And he was a guy that was drafted in the first round. I don't know if you guys remember it, but somebody pointed out that about 6-7 years ago in the Kevin Cobb game, it was the week after Deshaun Jackson got knocked out by Dante Robinson. Kevin Cobb started that game, but I think Kenny Britt had 200 yards against the Eagles that day.
Yeah, he posted
7 catches for 200 yards.
3 touchdowns. I think, was that Ellis Hobbs he
Yeah.
was going against? It could have been.
Yes, Ellis Dante Samuel were the cornerbacks that year. But I'm in favor of Kenny Britt, especially if you can get him around that $6 to $8 million a year, because there was slot thrown to him. A lot of people want to point out the catch rate, but I mean, some of those targets don't account for the fact that a ball can be uncatchable, and it'll still factor into your catch rate. I'm in favor of Kenny Britt coming to Philadelphia, and I would be surprised if that deal doesn't get done.
Now, if we're gonna go with a 2 free agent theory, free agent wide receiver theory, now who's the second guy that you have in mind?
The second guy I have in mind, Alshon's going to be thrown out there, but a guy that I really like, Kamar Aiken. Kamar Aiken's going to be a guy that's under the radar. Not a lot of people are going to know his name. He had around 75 catches in 2015 for the Ravens for 900 or so yards and 5 touchdowns. This is filling in for Steve Smith, and after Joe Flacco got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really reliable guy, 6'2". He ran, I think, like a 4.45 at the combine, so he can get a little bit of separation. Didn't do as much in 2016 because the Ravens, the way their offense runs, they like to force the ball to tight ends a lot. And they also had Steve Smith and Mike Wallace and Brashad Perryman, who didn't play his rookie year. So there were 3 wide receivers, and then they had a tight end, Dennis Pitta, that led the league in catches for tight ends. So, Kamar Aiken is going to be the odd one out there. But for me, I think Aiken is a really solid signing if the team can get him. And I think he's actually a better receiver, more reliable receiver than Jordan Matthews is.
Really?
And Kamar Aiken actually scored on the Eagles.
Yeah, we were down there to see it firsthand.
We saw that in the very cold-ass weather.
Yes.
Now, we've been asking this question, by the end of this free agency, who are the Eagles going to sign?
I'll go with Kenny Britt. I think that he'll be their biggest thing unless they somehow end up with a guy like Pierre Garçon. I don't think they're going to make a splash with somebody like a Deshaun Jackson. I did an article on BGN yesterday where he's seeking around 10 to 12 million, so he can take that somewhere else. I would say a name to watch out for, though, would probably be Terrell Pryor, because he's looking around 10 million annually. He doesn't have a lot of miles on that body, though, because he only played wide receiver for 2 years so far, and last year was kind of his breakout year. And once again, that was with slot throwing to him. And he was the primary focus of that offense because, Gary Barnard didn't play well. But Corey Coleman also missed the first half of the season. I think he broke his hand or something like that in week 2 or 3. So it was force-fed to Pryor more often than not. But one thing to be leery about with Pryor is I think that he was targeted around 144 times. Now, I mentioned earlier with Kenny Britt that, targets don't exactly translate to catchable balls, but it is something to watch out for.
Tyler, man.
I would say Britt would probably be the name to look at.
Tyler, we appreciate you calling in and giving your thoughts. And once again, congratulations on becoming a writer for BGN. We here at 4th and Jawn kind of pride ourselves in giving other people a voice, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be here on the airwaves, or whether it be people writing for us. And to see one of our own, like a little baby duck or like a little baby bird flying out the nest and hopping on to bigger and better things, man. Hey, just when you make it big, just do me a favor, all right? If somebody asks you, like, where you got your start, just be like, you know what, there was these 4 jerk-offs in New Media Studio, running the 40, falling and tripping over each other, doing a podcast, and that's how I got my start, and that's how other people should get their start. So, man, we appreciate you calling in, and again, good luck with BGN. Last phone call of the evening before we get to the Twitter questions. Keith from State College, my man, how you doing?
How's it going, EROCK? What's up, 4th and Jawn?
How you doing, buddy?
Long time no see.
Yeah, and honestly, we're coming down. We're rounding third right now. We're coming down the home stretch, but it feels good to get back on the airwaves.
It's great to be back.
Talk to you people. You know what I mean? Like really, just get back into the groove of things. So, how do you feel about this Eagles free agency?
It's been crazy. I mean, considering the fact it's been the first time in a while the Eagles have been tight with the cap space, it's just crazy. Like, for the first time in a while, it's just like we're not going to go out and spend big money on free agent quarterbacks that aren't going to, eventually burn us. And
yeah, man, I hear you. What about? I know you're on Twitter a little bit. What do you think? What was the worst take you've probably seen on Twitter so far, man? Because I have quite a few that are right on top of my head.
We should have asked people to like tweet in with the worst take they've seen.
The worst move I have seen people put on Twitter was definitely like trading Fletcher Cox for Brandon Cooks.
I saw that too. Yep, I got sick to my stomach.
Absolutely no way.
Yeah, no way in
hell. And that's like us trading and that's like people saying like trade the 14th. We are the hosting city of the NFL draft this year. There is no way I'm trading the 14th overall pick for Brandon Cooks.
Well, if you're the Eagles, though, just to pour some cold water on that, if you're the Eagles, though, you do not give a good golly damn where the draft is if it's in your home city and think to yourself, I can't make that move because I'm the host city. Your interest is doing what's best for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I will agree with you on this point. What's best for the Philadelphia Eagles is holding on to that pick, man. And once again, it might take a couple years. It might take a couple frustrating years. But dedicate yourself to building it the right way, the way that New England, the way that Green Bay, the way that Pittsburgh does it, and that's through the draft.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better, EROCK. And
thank you.
Yeah, that was going to be the next point. Like, you look at teams like Pittsburgh, New England, Green Bay, even Seattle. They're in the playoffs year in and year out, making deep runs because they build through the draft. They build from within. They have good scouting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've been posing this question. Again, we're coming around third, so we're going to get to the Twitter questions. But before we let you go, my man, answer this question. Riddle me this. This time next week, the newest Philadelphia Eagle will be blank.
Oh man, I'm thinking it's going to be Kenny Britt. Hearing today, like hearing the rumors about like him being Atlantic City and everything.
Which is where which is exactly where you want your potential free agents to be, right?
How about giving us an
on the craps table down
out of the box?
Besides Kenny Stills, man, something else.
Kenny Britt.
Britt. Sorry. Kenny Britt.
Besides
I'm
Kenny
listening.
Britt.
Kenny Britt.
Nothing.
Oh,
Okay.
Kenny Britt. I was today maybe look at Terrell Pryor.
There we go.
There
Okay.
we go.
I like that a lot better than Kenny
TP.
Britt.
I agree.
I'll take a shot. I'll take
Agreed.
a shot on Terrell Pryor. You know, even though, you know, he's like a 1-year wonder.
But I mean, you also got to think, he went from quarterback to wide receiver, and actually balled out.
Yeah.
Balled out.
That's
took
not
him a
normal.
while.
Dedication.
And you were the only offensive weapon that the Cleveland Browns had. Any defensive coordinator scheming for your team knew that Terrell Pryor was the only offensive
And you
weapon.
had trash thrown to you.
And you had garbage, hot garbage, slinging the pigskin, and they still couldn't stop you.
I'm not crazy for Terrell Pryor, but at the right price, yeah, it makes sense.
What'd you do it for 10 mil? They're saying 10 mil.
10 mil, but for the right price.
The mindset.
Bring it down a little bit.
The mindset is what I'm loving about Terrell Pryor, because I remember specifically you guys putting up a video last year where all the wide receivers are warming up before the game, and you got Jordan Matthews is the only one that's working on his routes, and all the other guys are head bobbing, they're dancing to the music. DGB, Bryce Treggs was out there dancing. Terrell Pryor is a guy who just more than anything wanted to be in the league. He was a quarterback. He recognized that he wasn't going to cut it as a quarterback. So he's like, I want to be in the league regardless. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay in this league. And that's the type of driven mentality that I would love to have in a player.
Now, for Mike's favorite segment, and actually we're gonna switch it up this year.
We're switching it up.
Well, we're not switching it up, but we're adding a little something to the Twitter questions, because you got the Twitter questions and the Twitter poll.
A little flair.
Out of all the Twitter questions that you pick, we're going to pick the best one. And the best one is going to get an Eagles Tailgate Team t-shirt.
Man.
Every time we do Twitter questions from here on in, the best question asked is going to get an Eagles Tailgate Team Dallas Sucks t-shirt. How about that? How about that? You like that? You like that?
You want to sweeten the deal a little bit?
What do you got?
I got a Seth Joyner signed autograph we can throw in there for the first contest.
Oh.
We got to save that for like...
No, let's do it now.
You want to do it now?
We're doing it now.
Shit. Okay. Best
T-shirt.
All right. No. We're not doing both. We're doing one or the other. You want to go Seth Joyner?
What about we want to do Seth Joyner for this episode, not for the draft?
Why not? We got more coming.
Best Twitter question that comes right now is going to get a set. Was Seth Joyner signed what?
Autograph.
On what? Like a
photo?
Samurai
Little
sword.
5x8.
Little 5x8? Love it. Okay. Let it fire away, Philly Mike.
All right, for the first Twitter question from our friend at Bling Green Hive, he says, if the Eagles are unable to sign a wide receiver, a good one, do you think they must take one in the first round?
You don't have an option. Yeah, obviously if they're not making a move in free agency on a wide receiver, they're making a move somewhere else in the positions, and that means that you still have the wide receiver hole to fill. So that wide receiver needs to be addressed. Wide receiver, cornerback need to be addressed. There's no other option it needs to be either free agency or the draft.
And this is in the first round?
Yeah.
Yes.
You listen.
I feel like
I'm sitting back for this one.
I feel like no Palms Gale is going to drop some knowledge on us right
He's
now.
going to backhand me.
No, I'm just saying. where I'm going is with the BPA, like best player available.
Yeah.
If a guy like
Sidney Jones,
a Reuben Foster falls there, you take the best player, or a Dalvin Cook falls there.
Yeah.
You don't want to force yourself into a pick. I feel like, but I do feel like Corey Davis. You can't say no to Corey Davis or Mike Williams if they're there.
Yeah, if Corey Davis or Mike Williams are not there, I think the answer is obvious. You don't go wide. You can't because that's how you Nelson Aguilar this thing.
No,
More
right.
specifically, that's how you Marcus Smith this thing.
BPA.
Drafting a guy who should have been drafted in the 3rd, 4th round,
That was a
but you
scramble.
spaz out. Yeah, it was a scramble move. That was a complete scramble move. I don't think they're going to get the free agent wide receiver that everybody wants. I think they're going to get 1 or 2 mid-tier free agent wide receivers. But if they do, they have to make it a priority in the draft. Doesn't have to be first round. Here's hoping that they do make a splash in free agency with a big one. But man, I got a hard on for Mike Williams. I'm not going to lie to you.
That's so gay.
That is not gay. That is not gay.
That's pretty good.
That's football man love right there.
Why is nobody talking about Brandon Marshall, man?
He's going Patriots, man.
Yeah,
Feels like we were
he's-
talking about this earlier.
He's a ring chaser.
Just
at
like
this moment.
everyone's saying that Kenny Britt's, but until it pens on paper, it's not happening. Like,
Yeah, he's 33 years old. He's never won a Super Bowl. If I remember
he's
correctly,
been on trash teams.
Exactly. So at this point in your career, wouldn't you take less money to go with a New England Patriots and cap your arguably borderline Hall of Fame career
with Jay Cutler of all people throwing
with the Super Bowl ring?
Yeah.
Playing for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, you know.
I mean, I really think he's focused on his media career. Actually,
Yeah.
he's really into that Showtime gig he's got.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like, that's his next move. And you win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, go out on a high note.
Yeah.
Next question.
All right, we got a question from our friend Zach Kress. He says, realistically, what can we get for Connor Barwin?
Bag of chips. No, I'm kidding. He's a guy that I honestly do think he has probably the most value of the guys that we're looking to move. Simply because he's a good player that's out of position. He's not a fit for our team, but he will be a good fit on another team. He'll be a starter.
But I think every day that this guy's on the roster, he's losing value. So they got to move quick. What, a 6th rounder at this moment?
No, nah.
Because you can hold. How long are you gonna hold on?
I was going to say 4th.
We talked at the top of the show. We went through the list of potential Eagles trades. We got Kendricks, Chase Daniel, Barwin, Jordan Matthews, Ryan Matthews, who we can't trade because of the injury, and Jason Kelsey, who I think 94 just said, Jason Lockerford just said they might trade him. None of these guys, none of them are going to net you any better than a 4th. Not a 1.
But then again, we need him off the books to sign these other free agents. So
it depends on what else. But if it's a 4th round pick, do it. You traded last year DeMarco Murray for a 4th round pick. Last year you traded Eric Rowe for a 4th round. Seems to be that sweet spot to where I will give you something for the player you no longer want, and that I think is better than a 4th round.
Who's giving up that pick?
I don't give a shit. Who does? I don't give a shit.
Name. Give me names.
But I would look at
Packers, Colts.
4 teams. 4 teams that need an edge rusher. Packers, Julius Peppers, right?
Getting up there.
I think he's a free agent.
Yeah.
They need to replace him with somebody. Ship him to Green Bay. Green Bay, give me your 4th. I'll take a 4th in a heartbeat. These other guys,
We're not going to get anything.
you're not going to get anything higher than a 4th for anybody.
I take a 4th, but I feel like it's going to be a 6th.
But then that's a shit trade.
Because we're stuck in a rock and a hard place. We got to get rid of Barwin.
Everybody else. That's our disadvantage. Is everybody knows we got to move them.
Yeah.
All right, we got another question from our friend Ali Cata 13. She says, "Who's the best option in the draft for a wide receiver?"
Oh.
This is I want Gail
This is
right
a Gail
here.
question. I don't
The
even-
best option.
Yeah. Come on, buddy.
All right, best option. I'm gonna go Corey Davis. I really think Mike Williams and Corey Davis are both in the same 1A, 1B type category. They both separate in their own ways. If we're going overall skills, a guy who runs probably the full route tree, great burst off the line, 100% of the game. It's Corey Davis.
All right, well, with that, from our draft expert, Gail, we got another question from my good friend at Philly Talk. He says, keep, trade, cut Ryan Matthews, Michael Kendricks, and Connor Barwin.
Ooh, this is like
I like this.
Oh, all right. Run it by me one more time.
One more time?
This is pretty sweet.
All right.
I like this one.
Keep, trade, cut Ryan Matthews, Michael Kendricks, Connor Barwin.
I'm gonna cut Michael Kendricks. I'm gonna try and trade Barwin because I think he has the most value, and I'm gonna keep Ryan Matthews, I guess, just by process of elimination.
Gail, would he keep a guy in a wheelchair on the roster?
What?
You're gonna keep Kendricks, trade Barwin, and cut Ryan Matthews.
I would agree with you that Barwin gives you the most value on the open market because he's still a good player in the correct system, right? So you're gonna trade Barwin, cut and keep. You're gonna keep Ryan Matthews. Here's why you're gonna keep Ryan Matthews. Because you're going to draft a running back in a deep running back class. You're going to draft a running back a little bit later, all right? But you want to keep Ryan Matthews just as an insurance policy in case Smallwood isn't what we think he is.
But
in case, what?
Isn't that neck? The neck injury isn't it pretty bad?
We listen. We can't cut or anything with him anyway.
Right.
So you almost got to keep him. You almost got to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lost track of my train of thought.
Kendricks and Barwin. You're trading.
And you're gonna keep Kendricks.
Yeah.
There. I like the question though. That is a great question.
I like that question a lot.
Someone's trying to get an autograph.
All right, well, now let's do the Twitter polls real quick because we're running short on time. All right, for the first poll we did, we said, pick the best wide receiver you want for our Birds. And 39% said Terrell Pryor. Wow. 38% Alshon Jeffrey. Okay.
How many people voted? Just out of curiosity.
For this one, it was 103 votes.
Nice.
Okay. For the second poll we did, the best cornerback you want for our Birds. 51% said Boye. Shocker. All right, and then for the other poll we did, said, what is the third position you think is most important to fill? 52% said running back.
And I would completely agree.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. What's nice about the draft and what gives you kind of, the not need to make the big splash in free agency is every position that's pretty deep in the draft, or at least so I've been told by guys like Gale, by watching the combine stuff, and guys like Nelson are telling me, they're deep at wide receiver-ish, right? Mm-hmm. They're deep at cornerback-ish. You can get third and fourth.
Yeah, wide receiver isn't that deep.
Isn't that deep? Okay, but it's there.
Yeah.
All right. Cornerback, you can get third or fourth round value or second round value in the third and fourth round.
Yeah, I mean, you can go deep into the fourth and fifth and get quality corners.
And the running backs, you've been preaching to me since we were doing the Fourth and Jawn during the
season. You
season.
can go in the sixth round, man.
Yeah, and there's going to be guys up there, real quality guys.
I mean,
sitting there.
And everyone's talking about Dalvin Cook, obviously, Fournette and McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. But the guy that not a lot of people are talking about, maybe some people are talking about, is Joe Mixon out of Oklahoma. He's probably up there in talent-wise, and if the Eagles want to go, the off-field issue route, that dude is goddamn sick.
Look at Leo Collins.
Who gave us the F, Marry, Kill question on Twitter?
Oh, our boy Philly Talk, at Philly Talk.
At Philly Talk, please direct message us. I think we can all unanimously agree that was the best Twitter question of the night. You have won yourself a Seth Joyner autograph courtesy of No Palms, Gale Saunders.
Yo, just DM me your address and I'll send it over.
Yeah, before Gale dies of a punctured liver via rib.
I think I got that shit. I am not blocking perfect.
No. Before we go ahead and get on out of here, we just wanted to touch real quick on the NFL draft. We will be doing another pop-up special podcast for the NFL draft. It'll be very Gale heavy because I'll be honest, I'm not a college football guy. I watch the combine, but
that's why we got experts.
That's why we got experts. That's why we got our own expert, Gale Saunders, here in-house. It'll be a very heavy Gale show, but we will have our own NFL draft show. As far as the actual event in Philadelphia itself, today, and I think we posted the details on fourthandjawn.com, but you're able to enter the lottery to get tickets. I think it's going to be incredibly difficult to get into that building. There's going to be a lot of people trying to get in. If you haven't already, Mike, I don't know if you can post up that link again, but if you haven't already entered the lottery for the NFL draft tickets, it asks you what your team, who your team is, what your rooting interest is. My suggestion to you, don't pick the Eagles. I guarantee you, the NFL has a quota on how many fans from each team they'll let in.
Jaguars.
Pick the Jaguars.
The
pick
Browns.
The Titans, pick the Browns. Pick the 49ers. Some shitty-ass team, and then show up in Philadelphia Eagles green.
Yeah, shout out to Berto on that one. He gave me that idea.
I'm pretty sure I gave him that idea.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's not give Berto too much credit. Let's not give Berto too much credit. We never do on this show. But anyway, for those that don't get into the draft, or maybe for those looking for an alternative to going into the draft, Draft Town is going to be on Ben Franklin Parkway. It's the same place they have the Thanksgiving Day, the St. Patrick's Day parade. They shut down the whole lane, Art Museum steps, Made in America. They do it there. They're going to be setting up a similar event. The day of the draft, I'm getting there bright and early. I'm posting my ass up next to the stage. I want Eagles Twitter. I want the Fourth and Jawn fam. I want the squad there at the NFL draft, watching on those big screens, getting on TV. I plan on making signs. We're going to make signs.
Are you going to dress up as Rocky?
No. Please, nobody do anything cliche Philadelphia bullshit.
Hey, I wanted to be Apollo Creed.
Hey,
Yeah, you know what? You can be Apollo Creed after the first fight when they're wheelchairing him into the hospital.
Keep
the gloves on. Just keep working the ribs, Rock. Just keep working the ribs. That's good.
the goddamn towel.
Yeah, exactly. So, boys and girls, that is it. It has been a pleasure to come and talk to you again. We missed you guys. Make sure you're following us on 4th and Jawn for up-to-date information. Also, any details on the draft party, and we will see you again sometime during the draft. So
how do we sign off again?
It was an hour and a half already.
So we got to hit. It's called in the industry they call it hitting the post. All right. So you've got to run your yapper until the appropriate time comes. And if you'll notice, normally I'm pretty good at it. Like every other podcast, the music hits. I can blab and flap my gums up until the correct point. But we're a little rusty. We haven't been here in a while, so we're gonna do it right now. EAGLES Eagles.
You want Eagles football? We're talking Eagles football. You're listening to 4th and Jawn. Wait, what the f*** is a Jawn anyway?